Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to That's Football. You're very welcome. I'm Mark Goldbridge and we're here for another Premier League watch-along on a Monday night as Crystal Palace entertain Arsenal. Manchester City have got off to a predictable flyer, I suppose, and we are in that scenario where we are waiting to see if Arsenal can respond. A potential issue, as always in the Premier League. It is competitive. It's the first league home game of the season for Crystal Palace, who obviously opened up their campaign with a win. So yeah, interesting to see what your thoughts are tonight. Will it be a straightforward win for Arsenal, or actually could Palace put up with a bit of a fight? Let's go through the teams. As you can see, that's Crystal Palace: Johnston, Ward, Anderson, Guehi, Mitchell, Lerma, Decore, Ayew, Eze, Schlupp and Edouard. And for Arsenal, you've got Ramsdale in goal, even though Raya is there now. Partey, White, Saliba, Tomiyasu, Odegaard, Rice and Havertz, Saka and Nketiah and Martinelli. I'm going to say it straight away, I don't like the balance of that Arsenal midfield. Now, maybe it's going to work. Arteta has a tendency and a history to make things work. I don't like the balance of that midfield at all. We know Thomas Partey will tuck in as an inverted right back, but I don't like Havertz and Odegaard and Rice as a midfield three. That's just my opinion. On the bench for Arsenal, Gabriel is on the bench, Smith Rowe, Cuiar, Trossard, Jorginho, Vieira, Raya, Nelson and Zinchenko. Some good players on the pitch for Arsenal and on the bench as well. What are your thoughts on this game tonight? And what a day it's been, by the way. Some big news in football. I was actually there this morning when Ben Foster announced his retirement from football. Walked into the office and let us all know. And then, obviously, we've had Mason Greenwood. Potentially, it sounds like being let go by Man United. But would you trust Man United? Are they actually smoke screening this a little bit, where he gets loaned off and then they'll bring him back in a year's time? We'll have to wait and see. But what are your thoughts? Jude, Enzo or Casido for United, says AHN. Well, none of them are at Man United and none of them are about to be at Man United because they've all recently signed for their own clubs. But Bellingham, if I had the choice, yes. He's the best. He's the best. James Moore says, what do you think about Ben Foster's retirement? Honestly, I was sort of party from doing the football feeling. I was sort of party to the conversations that were going on at the end of last season and then obviously into the start of the season. I always said this, look, I've never played professional football. So if I had the opportunity to play another season at Wrexham, 100% I would take it. But what I also said is that, you know, it's a bit different to coming in and doing a job at the end of the season and then getting promoted to having to play 46 games in a very competitive league. It's a big ask. And also, I feel that, and I'm not speaking out of turn here because this is just my opinion, I think one of the great things that Ben did as an innovator was the GoPro in the goal. And I look at some of the games this season, the 5-5 game at the weekend, the opening day loss. That would have been amazing content that we all, you know, loved Ben providing. And for whatever reason, the league, I presume it was the TV company, and therefore would it be Sky, wouldn't allow it to happen. And I think that was a massive shame as well. So, you know, I can see, as he said, you know, he just didn't feel he was playing to the level that he needed to play. And I think that reminds me a bit of Gary Neville at United. He did the same. He did the same at United, didn't he? You know, he realised he just wasn't up to that level anymore and decided it was time to go. You know, so I've got no problem with it. GSM says, club stated Greenwood did not commit any crime and the recordings were part of a longer video. Is it possible that both parties were participating in a role play and part of it is used against Greenwood, says GSM. How do you explain the multiple bruises on the body and the bleeding mouth then? I'm just playing devil's advocate, quite literally. People seem to focus on the audio. I think the images are very upsetting. Let's get ready to rumble anyway. I've got the timer ready. It's about to be 8 o'clock. And Ben wore the shirt. Not many can say that, says Enjoy Writing. And also, you know, I think when you look back on your career, absolutely incredible. That Notts County moment was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. What do you think about Doku to Man City? From what I've seen of him, I think it's a very exciting signing, and I think that it's typical of Pep Guardiola that he could make him into something very, very, very special, very, very quick and skillful player. So yeah, interesting. James says, congratulations on 1 million subscribers. Really appreciate that, mate. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new, bottom right hand corner. We're just about to start this game here. Let's hope we don't see any refereeing controversies. It's been a bit of a weekend for that, hasn't it? I'm just waiting to get the timer going here as Arsenal start it off. And there we go. We're off and we're running. Who do you fancy for this one, Mark? Says D3. Thank you for asking. And is it possible to get Gravenberch and Amrabat for United, says Mario? Well, it's always possible when you look at what some other clubs have done. I'm going to go with an Arsenal win tonight. Look, people will say stupid, but I predicted Palace go down. I do not know what I was thinking. I know what I'd been drinking, but I don't really know what I was thinking about that, to be fair. But I do think Arsenal will win this. I think Arsenal have to win this. They've got to try and start fast this season. They've got to go and get as many points as they can if they intend on trying to stay with Man City. Why did you say Palace would get relegated, says Isa? I was trying to be a bit edgy, I think. And I think at that point, Palace hadn't really bought anybody. But, you know, actually, thinking about Palace and their starting 11 and looking at them here, I don't know. I don't know why I said it. Højlund will be involved in the Forest game, Stelos, this Saturday. Have you completely given up on the FIFA streams? No, not really. Just this happens every year. It's the, August and July are an absolute lovely ball. Martinelli's got to score. Why didn't he shoot earlier? That should have been 1-0. He wanted to take a touch and get on his stronger foot. Back yourself on your left foot, mate. Havertz would have had an assist there. He's got so much space in the box. I mean, it's not a definite scoring opportunity, but it's a definite shooting opportunity. And I don't know why he didn't take it. I'm hoping to do some financial management. I'm hoping to do some Football Manager, yes. When's the football video out? I don't know. Jake says, did you see Carragher slating Casemiro on Monday Night Football? I don't take any notice of Carragher because he's already been proven wrong countless times. I mean, his Martinez obsession absolutely sat him down. And this Casemiro thing, I mean, just baffling. Absolutely baffling. He needs to get over himself. I can't be doing with pundits who are obsessed by rivalry. It's just poor punditry. I mean, I don't like Liverpool, but I will speak openly and honestly about the quality players they've got. Same with Man City, same with Arsenal. But Carragher just can't move past his obsession for Manchester United. He doesn't even understand the game that he supposedly played. Well, he did play, but you know what I mean? I've said it so many times. Casemiro is in a 1v3 situation a lot of the time. What do you want him to do? Go gadget legs. Of course he's going to get overrun. I mean, it's the idiocy of Jamie Carragher, really, that makes me smile. Casemiro's having a bad season. He's being overrun, Jamie. It's not the bionic man. A promising start from Arsenal. A lot better than they started against Forest last week. Atoro says, Mark, since Everton are in big need of a striker, if you're Daichi, would you rather get Shea Adams or Iheanacho? Says Atoro. I mean, it's not a great choice, is it? It's not a great choice. It's like going into the travel agents. You fancy a nice holiday to Spain, and they say we've got, we've got Lincoln or Stoke. I'll go to Lincoln, actually. It's got a nice cathedral. But if you want nice, good, hot weather, what's Arsenal's formation? Well, it will be what they were trying to do against Forest, really. Havertz and Odegaard will be there to support Nketiah. Martinelli and Saka will be there to provide the width. And Thomas Partey will try and tuck in and help Declan Rice. I think David Raya is on the bench for Arsenal. I didn't. Yeah, he is. Yeah. Keep an eye on that. Will David Raya become the number one for Arsenal? I don't think he'll get it until Ramsdale starts making mistakes. I think Raya's better than Ramsdale, but I do think Ramsdale's a good keeper. Yeah, up Goldbridge in the football fill-in quiz. Yeah. Well, it's an interesting chat actually, because I don't see what the point in bringing David Raya to Arsenal is from Arteta if he's going to not use him. Like, because you're going to just create a story. Like, the camera's just been to Raya there, and that's going to happen all season. Spinelli says, can Saka save my fantasy Premier League? Oh, you know what? You raise a good point, actually. I haven't even looked at mine. It's abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. Let's all laugh at my fantasy Premier League team because it's crap. I've got 36 points, which is actually better than average. And the average at the moment is 33, but I've got 36 points, and I've got Saliba and Saka playing. It needs a bit of work. Ellis has got 66. I know Ben Foster had a good week. Not for Wrexham, but he did in his fantasy Premier League. Delo needs to start the next game, says Casper. I don't mind Carragher, says Cameron, but sometimes he talks crap. If he just focused on being a pundit, I think he'd be all right. But he lets his bitterness get in the way. Oh, good start from Arsenal here. Much better than the Forest game. And this is good battling by Palace in the midfield. Get the ball out wide to Ayew. Chance to run at Tomiyasu. What's he got? Good cross shot and good defending there by Saliba, who is in my fantasy Premier League team. Nobby says that Palace are going to get whacked. Arsenal are going to do a job on them. I think it's all about who scores first in a game like this. Palace, if they could find it's a bit, you know what? It's similar to West Ham Chelsea yesterday, isn't it? You know, we saw what happened in that game when West Ham scored first, and Havertz looking better than Mount, says one. Wow, what an achievement! He'll be well happy with that. The better than Mount trophy. Kean says, I think that Raya will be number one by December. Yeah, I think that the thing about Ramsdale is I think he should be England's number one. So it's not like he's completely useless, but I think there will be a gradual change because, as I was saying, there's no point in buying Raya if you haven't got a problem with Ramsdale. Who do you think will be the top scorer in Man United this season, says Nigel? Well, I think it'd be a brave person to go against Rashford, really. I'd love it to be Højlund. Love it. But it's been so long since United had that, striker that just gets loads and loads of opportunities. I mean, I know Ronaldo was top scorer the season before last, but he was living off scraps. Do I think Rashford's overrated to 7? I think if he's a striker, he's overrated. I think if you put him in his position, he's very good in that position and he knows what to do. I don't know what I think about the people who say, well, you know, a good player should be able to play up front and on the wing. He shouldn't be completely useless in one position and just be able to be brilliant in another. I don't know what my general thought is on that really, but he's a completely different player on the wing to what he is up front. Nice ball over the top to Partey. Should have played that first time. Arsenal, just decision making in the final third, a bit off at the moment. Were you surprised that Elise signed an extension to stay at Palace as a Turo? I was surprised, but I actually think that what may well have happened there is there's an agreement that he can go next summer. How does Gabriel not start, says Mossy. I think he might be carrying an injury, I don't know. Irwin says, if United don't get another striker this summer, would you take Tony next season? Also, Fred playing well in his first half for Fenerbahce, says Irwin. Well, I saw that. I saw some clips of that interview on the Stephen Bartlett podcast with Ivan Toney. And he basically, you know, said that Liverpool or Arsenal. So I'm sure he'd go anywhere. When's Cooking with Goldbridge back? Look, as soon as the transfer window's closed, it's sort of like you move through the seasons and I should be able to start bringing it back. I had pasta for tea. I've already had my tea, Jack. Grace says, is that your bedroom? No. I liked the goggle box thing we did. It was a great idea. Hi Mark, I hope we see Rasmus Højlund soon. We need him next match, says Paul. He will be involved for the Forest game on Saturday. I've got a really big, I don't know where it's come from, but the back of my throat is like really bunged up at the moment. He's only on loan, he won't become number 1, says London Boy. He's only on loan, so he won't become number 1. I don't think that's true. Out of all the London teams, I thought Crystal Palace would be the level of Spurs or West Ham in terms of players and competitions 5 years ago, says It's Louis. I feel like Arsenal need a goal here because, for obvious reasons, but also they started off quite well, but Palace are starting to just find their feet a little bit here. Ball played by Partey. Could have been on the move this summer. Never really understood why he would be. Here we go. Saka, good interception. Nice ball to Nketiah. If he switches, if he can find the pass, he's not looked up. Didn't even look up. He's found Saka though. Yeah, and Martinelli is screaming in there. He's got so much space on the back post. And look at this. Nketiah. Look at that. It's there. He just doesn't know. He's got no concept. His head's down the whole time. Never going to make that pass. Mark, what did you think about what Ivan Toney said on the podcast, says Joel Morris? I mean, I don't know. He said a lot of things on the podcast, didn't he? The thing I found interesting that he said about the betting, that, you know, he didn't bet on yellow cards or anything like that. He was betting on himself scoring goals. Look, I get that. There's different levels of betting. If you're betting that about how many yellow cards there will be and you go and foul someone for a yellow card, it's a bit different to backing yourself to score the first goal. But many people would say, and I think they're probably right, you're still betting on a game that you're involved in. The laws say you can't do it. Felix says, are you confident that United will finish above Arsenal in May? No, and I've never said that I would be. I just think I don't think any footballer should be betting on themselves. I mean, Kevin De Bruyne, you might say, well, what's the problem with having a bet that you win Player of the Year? But, you know, just don't do it. If that's the rule, don't do it. It's a lovely ball. I'll tell you what, I like this player as well. I like Anderson at Palace. I liked him last season as well. Good player. What about players doing Fantasy Premier League? You can't, you know, players play FIFA as well, don't they? I mean, I don't think Fantasy Premier League is classed as gambling, isn't it? So, you know, I don't. Look, at the end of the day, it's the rules, isn't it? It's a bit like athletes taking drugs. There's a list of drugs that you can't take. If you have it in your body, you've got a chance of getting banned. I've played the game, says Light. Oh, Palace are in again here. Eze! Straight at the keeper. I've got him in my fantasy team, but he's on the bench. Let's have a look at this. Oh, he wanted a handball. Definitely not a handball on Ben White there. Palace are going to win this, says Dizzy. Well, I think Arsenal had a good sort of first 5 minutes, but as I said, Palace have started to settle into the game, and I really do think this game will come down to who scores the first. I mean, Martinelli's getting a lot of space. I've noticed that Martinelli is being left a lot. That's something that Arsenal should be looking to exploit. Can you do a Wayne Rooney impression? I probably could. I've never thought about doing it, so I wouldn't try it out on air. I can imagine it in my head. At the end of the day, you know, obviously at the end of the day, but you've got to put a bit of scouse on it. I'll work on it. But he basically says things like, at the end of the day, and obviously, and, you know, he's not from Leeds either. Do a poll, Mark, says Murph. Give me something to do a poll on. Who do you want to win? Look, I never want Arsenal to win because that's rivalry. But I suppose there's another part of me that's like, well, if Arsenal and Liverpool and Man United and Chelsea are inconsistent, we may as well just give we may as well give Man City the Premier League anyway. But I mean, the interesting thing about last season was that Arsenal were very persistent at the start of the season and therefore set up a bit of a title race. But gravy on chips, yes or no? Good one, Stu. I'm absolutely loving this. Gravy on chips. Now, for me, I'm massively in favour. Love it. Especially if the vinegar, especially if the gravy has a bit of a hint of vinegar. Corner to Arsenal. Headed away. I've played the game. Another corner to Arsenal. Martinelli's on it. Better. And a good header away. Palace have defended well from what have been some good deliveries from Arsenal, to be fair. Martinelli whips it in again. And again, Palace are first to it. And the keeper gets hold of it. My favourite gravy, and you can make it at home, is thick gravy that you get at the fish and chip shop. Start, sub, sell. Rashi Saka Foden says hello. Why do you have to put Man United players who are out of form against brilliant players from rivals? I mean, you're just being an arse. 4 lives and the fill-in today. Respect, Mark. 4 lives and the fill-in today. Respect, Mark. Alex Golding. Thanks, mate. I know what I was talking about 4 lives. I thought, are we playing bloody... when you said 4 lives, I don't know whether you've listened to my podcast, Alex, but on Goldbridge Saves Football, the podcast that comes out every Tuesday at 2 o'clock on Spotify, there's a quiz section called Football Hangman, and you get 9 lives to guess the player. So I was like, 4 lives? I haven't even played Football Hangman. Yeah, I've done a lot of lives today. It's been a very busy Monday. Mason Greenwood. Obviously, United have got rid of him. Apparently. I've had another super chat coming in here from Decode saying Sevilla that Man City struggled against is getting smashed by a promoted team. From Decode there. Razvan says Nketiah's off-the-ball movement is shocking. Look, I don't think he's good enough. I look at Arsenal and I'm like, I can't believe you've got a player like that leading the line. I know Jesus is injured, but there seems to be a real lack of out-and-out number 9s of quality in football at the moment, because virtually every team in the Premier League needs a striker. Everton, Fulham, Chelsea, Wolves, Arsenal. Everybody needs one, and maybe that's why a lot of people haven't got one, because there's not actually that many out there. Do you think Bristol have got a chance of promotion, says Egg? I know nothing about the Championship. You're asking the wrong person here. I don't watch the Championship. I don't know anything about it. SCL says we need a really good cooking with Goldbridge. We do, mate, because I've got a different kitchen now. So, definitely need to do one. I know what I'm doing next as well. It's been too long. It's been too long. Sarah says, what's your thoughts on Liverpool this season? I'm looking forward to that on Sunday, the watch-along against Newcastle at Newcastle. I think we learn a lot about Liverpool on Sunday. Beat Bournemouth at home, you'd expect that. Draw at Chelsea, good result. Newcastle away, big game for Liverpool. Looking forward to that on Sunday. Interesting point here from Faith. I mean, I don't really want to massively get into it, but I'm also not afraid to discuss it. Faith says, I've just watched United Stand's video on the Mason Greenwood situation. How can Richard Arnold say that he believes Mason Greenwood is not guilty, but then refer to his girlfriend as a victim? Well observed, Faith. Here's Odegaard. What a player he is, by the way. Not so sure about Havertz. Maybe he will become one. Good possession from Arsenal here. Into the box. Heavy touch. Palace clear. Which Premier League club would go for Lukaku, says Fred? I mean, he's an interesting one, isn't he? I don't know whether the ego of Lukaku would be willing to go and play for a Fulham or a Wolves or an Everton, but I'm sure they'd love him. I'm surprised Lukaku hasn't gone to Saudi Arabia, to be honest. He's got nothing to prove. Tottenham's been linked to him, says Mitch. Look, you can say what you like about Lukaku, and I wasn't his biggest fan at Man United. He was quite limited. But he can score goals, and in a market where there isn't many goal scorers out there, would he be worth taking a hit on? Bigger Premier League flop, Pepe or Morientes, says Alex. I was disappointed by both, actually. I was disappointed by both, but Pepe surprised me. I thought he would have done better. Gravy on chips, yes or no? 60% of you say yes, it wins. I'm going to start some of these off. We used to have great fun with the polls. So either or, literally pick the one you prefer. Havertz or Mount? Who's the better player? Havertz or Mount? Get your vote in. I'll get loads of these going on. Interesting look, 4 shots to 3 in the stats. Don't forget, in relation to our stats, you can get the individual player stats on the app. OneFootball is the place to get it. You can scan the QR code in the top right-hand corner, or you can go through the link in the description. Big shout out to OneFootball. It's free to download, Apple, Android. Get it downloaded. Get all your latest breaking football news, transfer news, and individualised stats for players for each game. Goal updates as well. Check it out. Could that have been a penalty for Arsenal? I mean, I always look at the referee, and you know, your decision making is looked at then. Havertz has just gone down injured from a tackle from Ayew. He's got a yellow card. Thoughts on Agate for United? He's just moved to PSG, hasn't he? GSM, so that's not going to happen. I can't have a thought on a player that's just literally moved. I think a yellow card's about right for Ayew there. Oh, I missed the penalty. Let's have a look. Here we go. No, not for me. Not a penalty for me, that. I think they got it right. Not a penalty and probably a yellow card for Ayew. Nothing more. Isaac says, I think Arsenal's first team, looks frightening on paper, but whether it would be any good is a different story. I think a little bit like Chelsea. If you added in an Osman up front to Chelsea or Arsenal, I think they become different teams. Lovely cross by Odegaard. Free header for Partey. Not a very good one. Paul says, I've been laughed at for saying Spurs should go for Lukaku. He's had his best times, but he's a goal scorer and streaks ahead of Richarlison. Thoughts? Paul, if I was a Spurs fan, I wouldn't say no, because surely it's better to have 2 strikers fighting it out for one position than have one. Destiny says, what's your favourite song from the Smiths? There is a light and it never goes out. There is a light and it never goes out. But if a double-decker bus crashes into us, to die by your side, oh, the pressure, the privilege is mine. And Nketiah, lovely turn! Oh, he's hit the post. That would have been a great goal. He spun his man like a fidget spinner, and then he hit the post. He did really well. Watch this by Nketiah. Into him. Lovely turn. That's the difference between top class and good. He should score. He should score. He's done all the hard work there and he should score. Hoyland scores that, says Mustafa. Goldbridge scores that. I score that. I've played the game. I'd have scored that. Mark, what is better, Fall Guys or Mario Kart? Danger, I am going to admit something here. I've been playing against Seb. And I can't beat him. I can't beat him. I'm literally holding the controller like this and I'm pressing the accelerator as if it's going to make me go any quicker the more I press it. And I'm like this and I can't beat him. Like I just can't beat him. He's 6 years of age, and he beats me at Mario Kart all the time. We did the Grand Prix thing today, where where you do 4 races, and into the final race, all I've got to do is finish first, and as long as he doesn't finish second, I'm going to win. We're into the final straight on the Star Cup, and he suddenly gets a bloody mushroom and goes all the way up to second. You need to pump the accelerator. I need some tips on Mario Kart because I just can't get it to go any quicker. I don't know how he does it. I've tried loads of different characters. Silver Mario. Wowzer. The lot. Wario. How do you skid round the corners? I'm really slow on the corners. I just keep the accelerator down all the time. Are you involved in the Sidemen charity match this year, says Callum? Whether I am or I'm not, I wouldn't be allowed to announce it anyway. Charlie, favourite Stone Roses song? Made of Stone, probably. Who was the biggest Premier League flop in the last 10 years, says the Og. Good question for the chat, that. How do you drift? How do you drift round the corners? People are telling me to drift. Press the right bumper to drift. How do you drift? Mark, you have to go back and forth on the analog stick to drift correctly and get a boost. Oh, this drift thing sounds interesting. Hold RB when going round a corner. What's that on a Switch? What's that on a Switch? I play with a Switch. Is it the right bumper button on the top? Just push Seb off a chair. That's not on the controller and it's assault. What's your opinion on Brighton's prospects given their start to the season, says Luke. I'm going to talk quite in depth about money and Brighton and how they could, how successful they could be, also on the podcast tomorrow. So looking forward to that. Right shoulder button on a Switch. What, you press that when you go around a corner? Bikes are much faster, says Movie Shorts. Mark, is Seb the favourite child by any chance, says Gonzalo. No, he's just the youngest and he likes to play computer games. It's the jump button while turning. I didn't even know what jump button. Right trigger to drift on the Switch. Oh, I'm going to be trying this out tomorrow, and when it works, Seb will go mad. He'll go mad. Thanks everyone for tuning in, by the way. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right hand corner. It's still 0-0 after 33 minutes here, which is interesting. Crystal Palace will be quite happy with that. You know, they've had the chance. Has Declan Rice lost a contact lens here? I tell you what, it's a really close poll between Mount and Havertz. Love your shows. I've had a few, says Reese. Mate, I respect it on a Monday. I respect it. Well done. Take me out. tonight. Because I want to go where people go. I want to see light. You got me into the Smiths now. Lots of people saying it should have been a penalty. Mark, are we still winning the Champions League? Says Lewell. Oh, come on. Jog on. We haven't even started in the Champions League. It's way too early to start talking about that. Declan Rice, this should be a goal this time. Oh, he's rubbish. It's him again. And Nketiah couldn't finish his dinner. Arsenal need a striker. He's had 2 really good chances. Oh my God, this is the worst of the lot. But I said, look, I've got no right to talk about. Well, I have got every right, but you know, Man United's my club. Arsenal fans, it's your club, and obviously you've got a bigger say on your club than I have. But I said this when you played Man City. What a tackle that was by Saliba as well. Never a penalty. Never a penalty. Gets the ball. Brilliant tackle. Never a penalty. Perfect tackle. I said this when Arsenal played Man City at the Emirates last February. And it was the big chance for Arsenal to really hammer home their advantage in the league. And Nketiah could have had a hat-trick. He didn't score 1. That probably cost you the title. The inability of him to put the ball in the back of the net. Tonight, he's missed 2 chances again. You know, if I'm Arteta, I'm looking at these chances and I'm going, people will talk about him scoring a goal against Forest last week, but it's in these games where it's tight and that, you know, you get 1 or 2 chances and the game's going to be won 1-0 or 2-0. You know, there'll be Arsenal fans out there saying, "Oh, leave him alone. He's a good lad. He's a good striker." But he's not a good striker in a 0-0 game where you need. And look, maybe he'll get another chance and score in this game. But my point is, there will come a time like that Man City game where he doesn't take the chances and it ends up being a loss or a draw. Do you talk about Sabe way more than any of your children? I think you do have favourites, says Ethan. No, I don't. And Mark, you shouldn't do favourites. How did Nketiah get Henry's number 14 shirt, says Vincent. Will the movie watch-alongs be coming back, says Bobby. I haven't had a look at what's on Amazon Prime at the moment. Fred scored for Fenerbahce. Saliba's penalty was never a penalty. It was a very good tackle. Arsenal still probing here. From the most recent 3 or 4 Premier League seasons, who's been the most consistently entertaining team to watch, says Isaac. I'd say Brighton. Fred 2-0 marks, says Irwin. I mean, I'm never going to say Man City because I don't like watching Man City. I think for me, the most entertaining team is a team that you respect and enjoy watching. So I would say Brighton over the last 3 or 4 seasons have been the most enjoyable team to watch. Mason Mount is better than Havertz, according to Yao. 52% of you have gone with Mason Mount, and 48% of you went with Havertz. I'm going to do another either or now, because I'm in the mood for these polls. So this either or is going to be, who is better, Raya or Ramsdale? Some of them might be quite topical. Topical bridge. Topical bridge. Oh, you know what? This time last week as well, I was watching Man United against Wolves. But better than that, I was setting my alarm clock to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go on holiday. Don't you just hate that when you think about it's like the week after Christmas Eve, isn't it? And you think, this time last week I was putting my pajamas on and putting my sack at the end of the bed waiting for my toys. Not that I don't do that anymore, but you know what I mean. Lots of people enjoying the poll about Raya and Ramsdale. Fred's better than Mount, says Ajit. Well, in this game, Arsenal have had, I would say, 2 clear-cut chances and maybe 1 or 2 situations they could have done better in. Whereas Crystal Palace haven't really had anything of note yet. Here's Martinelli down the left-hand side. He's looking for a pass. Can you see a pass? Martinelli into Havertz. He's gone wide. He's seen some space. He's gone to Partey. Partey. He goes to Declan Rice. He passes it back to Ben White. Ben White, looking around, surveying the grass, slips it into Nketiah. Lovely little ball by Nketiah to Saka. Saka on the wing. He's a tricky customer. He's still got it. Saka. Shoots over the bar. I won't ever do that voice again. I tell you what, the more I was doing the voice, I carried it on because I actually thought if this ends up going in, it would just be amazing. But it didn't. He's a poet and he doesn't know it. Fred's goal got disallowed. Do that voice again, says AC. They say trust your manager, but buying Havertz, playing Partey at right back and Nketiah over Balogun is mad, says Movie Short. I don't know anything about this Balogun. Yeah, I don't know anything about him. But I've heard him be mentioned a lot. What's your thoughts on Szoboszlai? Good player. Good player. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's like when they got Fabinho. I thought he, knew a lot about him from Monaco, and I wanted United to buy him. Didn't want United to buy Szoboszlai, but I do. He's a well-known name, and I think he'd be a very interesting player. Raya's winning the vote at the moment, 55%. Nice ball into Martinelli. Good tackle, but it comes back into Saka. Odegaard. What's he shooting for? Because he's got a good shot on him. And it's tipped over the bar. Hello, says Joel. Well, he just fancied it. He just fancied it there, Odegaard. Straight at the keeper, but dipping fast. Hi, Mark. How can you... I tell you what. I don't really laugh at my own clips because it's a bit arrogant. I don't really watch my own content, but I did see that clip. It did make me smile on a night I was very upset. I was very upset after the Spurs game, and I was just like going on social media for the last time on Saturday night, and that clip of me moaning about the tackle that Anthony got booked for, when I said something along the lines of, Michael Oliver, he's a fucking prick. His mum does his hair. And I was just like, where does that come from? His mum does his hair. I've never heard anybody get the piss taken out of that before. Your mum does your hair. It's a shame. It's a shame, actually. It's a shame that it's the summer holidays, because I would like to think that I could influence banter in the universities and schools of kids, going up to somebody and taking the piss, saying, your mum does your hair. I don't even know whose mum does their hair anyway. I don't know. Hi Mark, how can United sell Fred for so cheap but reject a ridiculous bid for McTominay when Fred's the better player? It's baffling, says Luke. It literally is. And Ronan says Pulisic, Loftus-Cheek and Gerrard are cooking at Milan right now. Do you think Chelsea are ruining world-class players, says Ronan? No, I just think Chelsea have such a big roster of talent. They can't pick it all. They have to get rid of some of it. I mean, I think that left back that's gone to Newcastle, Hall, I think he's going to be a brilliant signing. A brilliant signing for them. Mark, do you have a wonderful left foot? Says Alex. Mate, one thing I learnt about getting older is when I used to play football in my late teens and my 20s, it's just there all the time. You turn up and you're going. When I was playing five-a-side and stuff in my 30s, it'd take me 2 or 3 weeks to get anywhere near sharp in relation to match fitness, but also shooting fitness. Nowadays, I don't even know how long it takes. I've not felt sharp since I was about 36. And as for shooting, if I don't have a proper... I mean, it's depressing. Depressing. I never, ever warmed up. I never warmed up. Whenever I used to play football, I never warmed up. I never did any stretches. Never needed it. I used to laugh at people doing stretches and hamstring stretches. Literally, I was in the garden about 3 weeks ago. I said, play me in. Played me in. Literally, it was just Seb playing a pass. Blasted the shit out of it with my right foot. Instantly, I felt my groin had gone. I was like, what's going on? and it just gone. For the next week, I was walking with a limp. There was nothing wrong with me before I shot the ball. Which one will finish higher, Liverpool or Chelsea, says Shahin. I will use that one because Raya has got 56% of the vote and Ramsdale has got 44% of the vote. We're about to hit half-time here. It is still 0-0. Who's going to finish higher? Chelsea or Liverpool? It's an amazing thing to say about a football club that's spent over £800 million in the last 12 months. But Chelsea desperately need to sign a striker. It's mad, isn't it? They spent all that money and they need a striker. I saw some good shots on your Instagram story. Yeah, but I was well warmed up for that, Vincent. Two minutes. Only 2 minutes added on. And Nketiah again. If Arsenal had a decent striker, they'd be winning this game. Well done. Well done, Palace. They've got a break on here. 3v3. Could become a 4v4. Oh, rubbish. He's still in, though. No way. No way. Wants a penalty. It wasn't a penalty. Get up. Odegaard's only just got up himself. Nice switch of the play, though. Palace are in down the left-hand side here. We're about to hit half-time. Still on the attack, Palace. Arsenal got a lot of men back. Palace has still got it. Not really going anywhere apart from backwards now. Have you seen Goodfellas? I have. I've seen it loads. And I was very fortunate this summer to go and see it in the cinema because it got replayed at the Electric Cinema in Birmingham. So I got to see two classic films in the cinema this summer. Pulp Fiction and Goodfellas. I've seen them loads of times before, but nothing like going and seeing a film like that in the cinema. I love film. And I love the cinema. It's half time, everybody. It's half time and it's 0-0. And if we look at the stats there and we just pause it for a moment, don't forget you can get your individual player stats on That's Football through OneFootball. I got that wrong. Links in the video description. We're sponsored by OneFootball. They sponsor our stats carousel. Get all your latest breaking football news and transfer news on the OneFootball app for free. You can download it. Links in the video description. Or you can go through the QR code in the top right-hand corner. But they power our stats. And also they have each game individually stats for players. So you can look at how many shots Nketiah's missed. Check it out. OneFootball. Possession 69% for Arsenal. 9 shots to 5. Only 1 on target each, though. And that sort of tells the story for me. Arsenal should be winning this game. It's 5 corners to 0. But they just lack a cutting edge. And it was a little bit like this against Forest last week. And it's a lot like it this week. They're lacking a cutting edge, our Arsenal. And I don't know, Arsenal fans, if there is any plan to go into the transfer window. But I look at your attacking options and it's very much Jesus or nothing, isn't it? It's Jesus or nothing because you don't actually have a striker on the bench. Smith Rowe, Trossard, Jorginho, Vieira, Raya, Nelson, Zinchenko, Gabriel, no striker there. Yeah. Arsenal need to fire Arteta. Arteta out. No, they need to fire that front line a little bit. They need to find goals. And Nketiah really should have had 2 really good chances that he's not taken. But look, plenty of time to go. But I think this game will be decided by who scores first. Redondo for CDM, Mark. Him and Amrabat are only £40 million, says Gog. 82% of you are saying that Liverpool will finish above Chelsea. No faith in Chelsea at the moment. Of course, that can be a bit flippant because Liverpool won at the weekend and Chelsea didn't. Mark, who do you think is better, Elise or Maddison? Play different positions, Farm Foods, don't they? I like to do either ors of players who play in the same position. And Nketiah is better than Højlund, says Ten Hag. Yeah, you've never seen Højlund play, have you? And Man City, Trossard, but Arteta is a plonker, says LDD. And too bad everybody's going to Saudi Arabia, says B. And you can't discount Balogun, says Wi-Fi. Well, Arteta seems to do a very good job of discounting Balogun, if I'm being honest with you. Odegaard is so elegant. He's a step above Bruno Fernandes. He's closer to De Bruyne than anyone else thought, Mark, says Frank. You're talking to the converted, Frank. I'm a big fan of Odegaard. I think he's a fantastic player. So you're not going to get me on that one. What do you think about Jeremy Doku to Man City, says Safe. Well, I'm not surprised. They were looking at Elise. They clearly wanted to bring a wide player in. He's a bit of a hipster choice in the sense that I think there'll be a lot of people saying what a great signing it is by Pep Guardiola. He's ridiculously fast. He's a good dribbler. He's going to need to find the discipline, which he will get at from Pep Guardiola. It's an interesting one because the lad that they sent to, is it Bergwaj or something like that? The lad that they've sent to Ajax, I think they've sold to Ajax, he looks like being an absolute... I'd keep my eye on that lad. Man City sold him to Ajax. I think he looks very, very special. I don't watch a lot of youth football, but you keep an eye, you keep your ear to the ground. He's a player that I think is really interesting. So what's that got to do with Doku? Absolutely nothing, but I would keep an eye on that name. Mark, thoughts on Laporte to Saudi Arabia? I have no thoughts anymore. On anybody going to Saudi Arabia because so many people are doing it. It's not even a shock now. They're going there for the money. That's it. But there's plenty of them doing it. Mitrovic, Henderson, Fabinho, Laporte. They're all doing it. So, it is what it is. How Arsenal midfield looks good and Man United has the same profile of midfield, but it looks worse, says Blank. And City got this in the pocket. It will not be an interesting season, says Thash. I sort of agree with you. I think that Man City may well have this title wrapped up by December. Not in the sense that they'll have won it by December, but they could be like 10 points clear and then it's basically over. Fabrizio signed for Kick. The live streaming, says Average. Bunsen burner. Nice little earner. If I know Fabrizio like I think I know Fabrizio, there'll be lots and lots of peas coming his way for that. We look, I can speak honestly now because it's been a few years. We got a very big offer about 3-4 years ago to go to an online streaming service. And I said no, because it's I'm the sort of person that wouldn't go to Saudi Arabia, because it's not just about the money, it's about the creative for me. It's about the audience, and I like, I know there are other live streaming platforms out there, but I like YouTube, I like Twitter. With all due respect to the others. I like YouTube, and it works. So, if Kick want to offer us, big P's, then we'll obviously always be respectful and listen to your lucrative offer. But no. Massive rumour of Varane to Saudi, says Joel. We were told this morning from people close to Varane that he's absolutely happy at Manchester United and not looking to leave. And the only way he would leave Manchester United is if United want to sell him. Well, if United want to sell Varane to Saudi Arabia because they can't sell Maguire, I'll absolutely lose my shit. You can't raise money off players like that. Do you think Saudi League is the most interesting league after the Premier League? It may not have much quality, but it's more interesting than other European leagues, says Hasha. I'm going to be completely honest here. I have got no interest in the Saudi League. I respect it. I understand it. I understand what they're trying to do. They've got every right to do it if they want to. But it's an exhibition league. I mean, we've just spoken about somebody leaving somewhere to go somewhere else because they're giving them big money. What do you think the motivation is from somebody to go somewhere because they're being offered big money? It's big money. And when you take that big money, you basically put your hand in the air and say, I'm motivated by big money. So all these players that are going to Saudi Arabia, are they going to Saudi Arabia to win the Saudi League? Or are they going to Saudi Arabia to earn massive money? If you are Declan Rice, you get good money, but you're going to Arsenal because you want to try and win the league. These players going to Saudi Arabia, they're going to there to earn money. Their motivation will not be at the same level it would have been in the Champions League or the Premier League. Therefore, there'll be a drop in their performance, and therefore it'll be more. It's an exhibition league, and also they don't have 11 great players on it. You know, they don't even have 11 good players in their first 11. So I've got no interest in it. That might change. Early days for the Saudi League, but I've got no intention of watching, monitoring, or pretending to be interested in it, because for me, it's just a place that footballers can go and make great money at the moment. I don't think it's watchable. I don't think it's entertaining. It's a bit like boxing and wrestling. A lot of people like wrestling, but it's not real. Boxing is. So, you know, I like the integrity of the Premier League and the Champions League and the competitive nature, and I don't think the Saudi League offers that at the moment. It's a novelty. It's a novelty. It's like a Werther's original. You put it in your mouth and it tastes nice for a moment or two, but you chomp it or suck it and it's gone. Whereas I think the Premier League is like a big bag of Revels. I suck it and taste it, and then I can have another one if I want. The final the other night was pretty good to watch, says Anonymous. And it's not made for us, it's made for Middle Eastern viewers, says Nice. And I've got no problem with that at all. You know, you're absolutely spot on. Why should I and you and I be so arrogant as to think I'm not going to watch the Saudi League, so it's going to fail? Of course, it's absolutely it's about huge audiences in that area of the world who want to do that. Somebody's saying clip him up. I don't know what I said, so I'm not part of the joke. Like Ben Foster on the fill-in. Did you watch the fill-in about the areola and the bit of tit? He didn't get that for too long. Doku to City is confirmed. Here we go, says Jack. I've got to say this about City because any opportunity I can have to take the piss out of them when they're so good, I'll take. Here we go from Fabrizio Romano, from a Man United, Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool player. You know, it's like a top corner goal, isn't it? Everybody's interested. Everybody's like, wow, that's amazing. A Man City, here we go. Doesn't matter who it is. It's like an own goal in pub football, isn't it? No, just nobody's interested. Nobody's interested in Man City, here we go, are they? Back to the game. Nobby says Nketiah is awful. More chance of seeing aliens on the pitch than him scoring. No, look, in fairness to him, he's not useless. I think Nketiah would probably not start for Everton. And people will go, you're having a laugh. You're having a laugh. But would he consistently start for Everton? I don't think he would if Calvert-Lewin was fit. So when you get your head around that, Nketiah, would Fulham buy him to replace Mitrovic? I don't know. Would Nketiah start for any team in the Premier League? And the question is, let me think about that. Well, I'm not going to answer the question because he probably would start for some Premier League teams, but life's too short for me to figure out what. What I'm saying is an Arsenal striker shouldn't be part of a conversation about would he start for Everton. And that's the problem Arsenal have got. Saw it last season in that Man City game. If you are Arsenal and you want to win major trophies, you've got to have a striker that scores those chances. And he isn't that striker. Now, why Arsenal haven't addressed that, I don't know. Could he suddenly become that striker? I don't know. But at the moment, it's a bit of a problem. AJ says, all right, Mark, seeing you trending and people being vile again. Hope you're good, mate. I didn't know it was trending, AJ. From Mike McGrath, Sheffield United are in talks over a deal for Punditry to join on a season-long loan. I'd keep him at United. And Mark, the friend who makes a bunch of that's what she said jokes when he's wasted, says Kyle Murphy. And thank you very much. Let me have a quick look here. I'm not trending on my Twitter. What did happen this afternoon, and you know, hold on a minute. Yeah, so I've just actually seen the clip here. There's a guy on Twitter called at John McMahon with a 0 on the O. So it's at John MC. So at John at JOHN MCMAH 0N. So he was watching my stream this afternoon where I was live for an hour talking about the Mason Greenwood situation. He has clipped me out of context where I basically said that I was talking about the case and basically said that when that January when the victim put the pictures out of the audio and the images, I said that was at that point that was when it that's where it all started from, and realistically that is where it all started from. So they basically completely took me out of context from a 60-minute video where I've never wanted Mason Greenwood back. They've taken a 20-second clip that makes it look like I'm pro Mason Greenwood. It's disgusting. It's disgusting because when they've done that, they were watching the channel, and they've also done it knowing that that's going to get people sending threats to me, calling me a rapist apologiser and all sorts of stuff. I don't get surprised by it. I really don't get surprised by it because life is full of these sad little twats who are clout chasers. But, you end up, what bothers me is you end up getting people that you actually do respect messaging you saying, what's all this about? And you have to go, well, watch the full video. It's completely out of context. And as you know, I've always been against Mason Greenwood coming back. I can't change the timer here now. Well, it's never done this before. Oh, here it is. So we're on 45 and 32. A lot of people saying don't worry about it. I don't worry about it, but what I do worry about is the good people who see it and take it as true. Because unfortunately, the world is full of thick people who see a short clip and take it as truth. And it's massively insulting when somebody does it and you don't even believe in that. But it's life, isn't it? I'm not about to lose any sleep about it. But it's such a serious issue. I could be walking down the street tomorrow and like a woman could walk up to me and hit me in the face and say, you're rapist sympathiser. But these people don't realise that. With great responsibility comes great power. And, with all this AI and stuff, there's all sorts of stuff you can clip up now. I mean, it's scary. But the scariest thing is that people will believe it. What happened to Cena versus Deitch? Or am I tripping, says DJ. You're tripping. I don't know what you're talking about. Look, suffice to say, I've always consistently been against Mason Greenwood coming back for Manchester United. So why would I, start attacking or undermining a potential victim of something very, very serious? It's just ridiculous. But there you go. Life is full of idiots. You should try and ignore them. Who's had the best transfer window this summer, says M. Well, we're back watching the game again now, but thing is, last summer I said that Spurs, for me, won the transfer window. Winning the transfer window doesn't mean necessarily that you do well in the season, do you? I mean, I hate to say it, but could you not say that Man City look like they've had the best transfer window again? Kovacic, after a bad season for Chelsea, looks like he's been playing with them for years. Vardiel probably will be one of the best centre-backs in the world very, very quickly. And, they look very, very good. Newcastle made some smart signings, I agree. Brighton probably will have an amazing window, even if we don't know half the players that they've bought, because they're that clever. Well, look, I don't want to put any pressure onto Arsenal fans here, but there is a time limit, and it's 90 minutes. Saka into Odegaard, or left foot, but what a left foot. Cross comes in, back post, lovely play by Martinelli. Corner. Europe says Arsenal had one good season, back to reality. That's always going to come back. Crystal Palace is always a hard game for us. You beat them on the opening day last season, didn't you? And I expected that to be a hard one. Who's had the worst window? I don't think Crystal Palace have had a great window. Probably Wolves, though, like you say. Another good corner. I tell you what, Arsenal have delivered some really good corners, but Palace have defended really well. Yeah, keep the conversation going. Who do you think's had the best transfer window? Everton's not had a very good one, Savage. You know what, though? You can have a bad window by doing too much. I mean, Chelsea... I think we can all look at Chelsea's window in awe, in a sense, of selling £300 million worth of players in one summer is remarkable. That's a penalty. That is a stonewall penalty. He's given it. It is. It is. It absolutely is. Maybe this is why they're looking at Dean Henderson, and it's Nketiah who wins that, and it's an absolute stonewall penalty. Don't look at how far he's kicked the ball. It's a slipped through free kick. He's past the keeper. There's no need to replay that. It won't be going anywhere other than the back of the net. Is this the season when Everton go down, says Vishesh? I don't think so. So Nketiah here, look at this. Burst of pace. All he's got to do is get there first. Leave your foot. Stonewall penalty. Stonewall penalty. Raymond says, please trend, unfollow United, Glazers out and Arnold out. And it's those moments in games that make the big difference. Sam Johnston a little bit slow. Well, VAR is going to look at it. I don't know why. I don't know. It's a penalty for Arsenal, sense. And Nketiah gets the ball before Johnston. I can't believe they're looking at it this. What are they looking at? Are they looking at a foul in the build-up or what? No, it's still a penalty, I think. Well, it's a clear penalty. I think they were looking at whether there'd been a foul by Thomas Partey in the build-up, which I wasn't actually looking at. And it would have seemed a little bit harsh. Penalty taker Odegaard. I thought Saka was going to take the penalty because he had the ball in his hand. He's not. He's handed it to Odegaard. Why is Saka not taking penalties? And Odegaard scores. It's 1-0 to Arsenal. I thought Saka did take penalties for Arsenal. Maybe I'm completely wrong on there. But it's 1-0 to Arsenal. Was a penalty. Clever play on the free kick. Lovely bottom corner finish from Odegaard. And they've got a goal within the first 10 minutes of half-time. Second half, obviously. And first goal in this game was always going to be key. And it's there for Arsenal. Saka keeps missing, that's why, says Jeffrey. Well, can Palace respond now? They've not really had any chances anyway that I can think of. How rich do you think Fabrizio Romano is? He bloody works hard. He's got more connections than BT. Palace are on the attack now. Zane's given us a super chat. Side netting. It was a ridiculous shot by Ayew, really. It's very far wide. But we saw the net move. Jonathan says Arsenal are looking their way to the top again. Not a good idea. They've got Man United soon. Don't worry. Arsenal, since January 2022, January 2022 is a bad month, isn't it? We've mentioned that a lot today, have not lost when going ahead. But Palace have got the most points from losing positions. Well, we've been saying Nketiah ultimately isn't good enough for a club like Arsenal, but he has had a part to play in why Arsenal are leading. He should have had a part to play in why they were leading by more, admittedly, but he's played his part here. Foz says that Liverpool won the transfer window. I don't think you've won the transfer window until you sort your midfield out. Mark, score prediction when you come to the Emirates. He's going 4-1 to Arsenal. Right here, right now, you're probably not too wrong, but there's a couple of weeks and United can improve. Free kick on the edge of the box. Saliba, is he going to book him? Don't book him. He's in my fancy team. Don't book him. What full-grown animal would you win in a fight against, says a Toro? I've had this conversation before. Like, there's some animals that are very powerful, but they can't fight. Like, a horse is very big, but what's it going to do in a fight? Like, a horse is massively powerful. But they're rubbish at kicking unless you go behind it. You stand in front of a horse, it's no good at kicking like that. And if it tries to kick you with its front feet, you can tell it's going to do it because it goes nay and jumps up like that, and I'll just move to the side because it can't move it can only move its legs straight. So if you punched a horse, you don't need to put your hands up and move around. You just keep whacking it on the nose, and then when it tries to jump up, move to the side. You've got to come down, bang. So I think a horse is a very powerful animal, but it wouldn't be very good in a fight. Same for a cow. They can't even jump up. They're too heavy. But they're very, very big. Don't ever punch a horse or a cat or a dog or a cow. We're talking about hypothetical here. It's funny how you sympathise with the horse. Yeah, if I was trying to punch a hippo, I'd be mauled to death and there'd be no sympathy for the animal then. Some might celebrate it, but yeah, I like it. We feel sympathetic to the people who are vulnerable, and that's what we should do. What's the fairest fight? Probably a kangaroo, because they can throw punches. I've seen some hilarious videos of kangaroos attacking humans. It never gets too violent, but they literally are bouncing around throwing punches. Amazing animals, kangaroos. They just look like hilarious. Mark, there's no way that's a penalty. Saka had to punt the ball out of play to draw the foul. The refs remain consistently inconsistent, says the Society. You're wrong, because it wasn't Saka, it was Nketiah anyway, and it was a penalty. It's not about. That's what I said. Can't kick ball, but can fight a horse, says Ian. I wouldn't fight a horse. Kangaroo kicks are dangerous, yeah, says Ollie. It's a stonewall penalty for Arsenal because people always, well, not everybody, but some people do this. They go, look at how far he's kicked the ball ahead of him. But that's irrelevant. You know, if I'm running past Saliba and I kick the ball far ahead of him, but he 2-foots me, does the referee go, well, you kicked the ball too far ahead. It's your own fault you got 2-footed. It's a foul. Christian says, Chuck Norris once uppercutted a horse. It's now a giraffe. Oh, that's a good one. Shark attack or bear attack, says Orin. Well, at the end of the day, you're not winning. So I think the one that's the quickest, really. I mean, the worrying thing about tigers is, and I don't know why I'm bringing tigers into a shark versus a bear fight, but the worrying thing about tigers and cats in general, is that they play with their food. So, you know, I wouldn't. What if a bear's like that? You know, I've seen The Revenant, and basically, I think a shark would finish you off quickly. So I'd probably go for a shark attack, whereas a bear could be like a cat and play with its food. So yeah. Big cats suffocate you first. My cat's big. Rocky, he's quite overweight. He needs to go on a diet, and he doesn't suffocate his food unless he sits on it. I've seen him with a bloody pigeon, and you know, I have to scare him off. It's barbaric what he does. Jeffrey's a shark expert and says sharks won't eat you whole, they'll leave you to die. Not if they want to eat you, they won't. Hi Mark, congratulations on 1 million subs. Love from Kenya, says Gideon. I think crocodiles are the best, aren't they? I mean, I'm acting like I've been killed by a shark, a bear, a crocodile, but don't crocodiles have something called a death roll, where they take you down and roll you around until you die? So, and I think they've got. I think I read somewhere that crocodiles have got like larders as well, where they keep their dead. They don't have little huts on the side of the pond where they open up a fridge and put you in there, but they have little places they store their food apparently. What should everyone do at least once in their life, says Barbie. Who remembers the geese on holiday? United Stand stream, says Catherine. Oh, yeah, the geese. The geese. Couldn't find the crocodile. I couldn't find the... I was actually in the same resort where I got attacked by the pineapple seller. Didn't see him. Walked up and down the beach like the bloody Wheelstone Raider. I kept going, come on, where are you? I'm Andy. Do you want some? Couldn't find him. Ollie Red says, if you're being chased by a crocodile, run in a zigzag to get away from it. Obviously, that's on land. If you're in water, you've got no chance. Mate, I can walk on water. I'm fine. What do we think about Havertz? I think Liverpool are going to struggle to get Europa League this season. They have no depth in any position and their defence is in a bigger problem, says E. I think they're going to be fine to get Europa League because they're already in it, E. That's what they're in. Gandalf says a brown bear can run for miles. You've got no chance of getting away. Bollocks. I don't believe that. They sound like they're knackered after 10 metres. I can run further than a bloody brown bear. Have you seen a brown bear? When it runs, it goes along going... There's a load of brown bears watching this tonight in Canada going, I'll tell you what, I'll outrun him. Swivel on it, Paddington. I'm quicker than you and I'm fitter than you. Apparently, though, I need to get back to doing driving with Goldbridge because I used to do all this stuff then. A polar bear can run quicker than Usain Bolt. So don't start thinking about bloody Glacier's Fox Mints or anything like that. They're fast. What do you usually get once in a minute, twice in a moment, but never comes in 1,000 years is MT90? I don't know. I'm no good at riddles. A polar bear can smell you for 6 miles, says Liam. I don't like polar bears. They're gruesome. They're powerful. They're fast. They've got a great nose. I'm just glad they live in Iceland. Thoughts on Andrew Tate, says Joke. I have none. I've never really watched his content. I don't have any. Crystal Palace have made a 26 million signing from called Franca. Bryce says, I'm reading the book that TV show The Terror was based on, and they say a polar bear can run over 25 miles an hour. Well, Martinelli can run fast as well, but his cutback is blocked as Nketiah tries to get the shot on. Oh, shot there. I think that was Havertz just wide. Cracking TV series, The Terror. One of my favourite things I've ever watched. Really enjoyed it. I never watched season 2, but I liked the first one. Arturo says Sean Dyche versus a polar bear. I think I'd always back Dyche in a fight. There's no polar bears in Iceland. Says, I don't mean the shop. I mean the country. Yellow card and a red card. Tomiyasu's gone. Wow. Red card for Arsenal, game on. What did he get booked for in the first one? Let's have a look. No, I don't think that's. I don't think he's pulling him. I don't think he's pulling him. I think he's a little bit unlucky there, because I thought the reason I waited is, did he pull his shirt? I don't think he did. I don't think that's a yellow card. I don't think he does enough. I think it's clever by the Palace player, and you've got to obviously admire the shithousery. But Greenland's the cold one, not Iceland, says Mike. I think that's harsh. Should Tamiyasu been sent off? Polls there for you. I think that's up there with the worst 2 yellow cards of the day. Not of the day, of the weekend. They're going to have to make some changes tactically here and there. I just think, I mean, look, as I say, I'm no Arsenal fan, but I think both. Do you want your game to become that? Like, we're basically going to see games that go on for 100 minutes, and we're seeing an increase in red cards. So we're going to get longer games with more red cards. And we all know that when a team has a red card, it makes the game less of a spectacle. So these prats in charge again haven't thought it through. Let's have longer games with more red cards. I don't mind longer games with everyone on the pitch, but that is a terrible red card. The second yellow card is softer than an ant's fart. I mean, he barely touches him, and it's Crystal Palace again. This is what happened with Casemiro. Casemiro against Crystal Palace. AU, same bloody player in it again. Mark, you said this. Rival fans slagging Man United. These bad decisions are coming for every Premier League club, says King. Yeah, Mo. Look, King Mo, you are a king. You're absolutely spot on. I said this about the handball against Spurs. I said it about the Casemiro things last year. It's coming to all of you. And you can take off your rivalry glasses and laugh when it happens to a club that you don't like. But I don't do that. I look at the officiating in general. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Hi Mark, can you please recommend a good subscription for live matches? By the way, you're amazing. Thanks for all you do. God bless you, says Kofi. For live matches, subscription depends what country you're in, mate. I mean, we have Sky, which is what I'm watching this on. You know what though? This comes from Howard Webb. This comes from the Referees Association. We want to see more red cards. We want to see more yellow cards. Do you want to see more red cards and yellow cards? Did anyone consult the fans on this? I don't want to see more yellow cards and red cards. I've been watching the game for over 40 years. If it's a yellow card, it's a yellow card. If it's a red card, it's a red card. I don't need to see more of them. I don't need us to create more yellow cards and red cards. I know what a yellow card is and I know what a red card is. And in some games, you see 10 yellow card tackles and it's 10 yellow cards. In some games, you see 2 yellow cards. In some games, you see no yellow cards. I don't need us to increase and manufacture yellow cards. And that's what they're doing. They're manufacturing more yellow cards to create more red cards. But what these idiots do not understand is, when we get a red card, the game doesn't get more exciting. It's a fact that when a red card happens, the quality of the game, 9 times out of 10, diminishes. But these idiots don't think about that. They think, oh, you know what? Could have been a penalty to Palace there. Partey says he wants a yellow card. It will be the same old crap in the morning. The refs union closing ranks, says Steve. Mojo has gifted a membership. Hi Mark, emailed you a small piece on United match about possibility of doing a little writing for the website. Would appreciate. Look, I don't run the website, Tango. No point in getting in contact with me. I think there's a contact page on the website. Thank you though, but I can forward it for you. That's about all I can do. Mark, the friend who I've done that one. Was this a penalty? Ezzy. No. No. And he should be booked. What's happening with the fantasy league, says Andrew? Fucking nothing. Unless Saliba gets a clean sheet, absolutely nothing. It's funny because I'm a fast guy in real life, and even though bears are supposedly really fast, I always look at them and say, I would give you a game. I don't know why, says DJ. Yeah, I'm stunned that a bear would be quicker, but a lot of people saying it was a penalty on Ezzy. I didn't think it was. I think he was going down too quick. I think he's going down on the contact simulation. Just my opinion. Make sure you subscribe, by the way, bottom right hand corner. Thanks everyone for tuning in. It's going to be an interesting last 20 minutes because Crystal Palace are playing an Arsenal team that's got 10 men. How can the refs get so much wrong this early to a season? Second game week and almost a major fault in every game, says Charlie. The human body can jog 40 miles a day. It's a hunting tactic, so jog on, says Desert Haunter. I don't know what he's talking about. He's having a conversation with himself. Five red cards this Premier League weekend. It's ridiculous, Taylor. Here's Nketiah. He's going to have to do a lot of running on his own. Thoughts on the McAllister red card, says Star. Never a red. Never a red. I heard Liverpool were going to appeal it. Could be a dangerous game. How has he not booked the lad for fouling Nketiah there? It's the same foul. Oh, God, these referees are terrible. They're absolutely terrible. Inconsistent as well, yeah. Someone said, can you do a poll on the penalty? Yes. Was it a pen for Palace? Don't know why I did an exclamation mark. Get involved. No, fucked it up now. There we go. Welcome to the Members Club. Jacob, thank you very much for joining. Well, the Crystal Palace defender has just committed exactly the same foul that Tomiyasu got a yellow card for that got him sent off, and he didn't even book the Crystal Palace player. Have you seen Oppenheimer? I have, Alex. I enjoyed it. I would watch it again. For me, it's the sort of film I'd probably watch at Christmas, on one of the nights between Christmas and New Year. Not because it's a festive film, it's just a film to fill one of the boring nights between Christmas and New Year. Hoyland will be available for the Forest game, yes. I don't know whether he'll be able to start, but he'll be part of the squad. Arsenal are going to have to do very well to stop this, you know. Quite an even split on the penalty as well. Which celebrity would you fight, says Lerv? My wife's always said, if you ever do a charity boxing match, I'll leave you. So I've been trying to get a boxing match for ages, but no one will do it. No, it's a joke. I've had offers to do it, not anymore really. I mean, you've got all this misfit stuff now, and people take it very seriously. But in the early days of charity boxing, I got a few offers. The money was crap, but I'd be interested in doing it if I was younger, I suppose. In a technical sense, I like boxing, so I would love to have, like, you know, been good at it. But if I know it's a boring answer, but there's people are saying Gary Neville, Piers Morgan, and everyone like that. I mean, maybe some of those people would like to get in a boxing ring with me, but I don't live my life by that code. You know, I don't look at people and say I can't stand you. I want to get in the boxing ring and punch your head off. Just don't. I think it's just a wasted life to live with that sort of aggression and jealousy and bitterness. I just don't. So there's nobody I ever look at and go, I'd love to get in a fight with you, and I'd love to beat you at chess or beat you up. You know, I don't really get like that. So, what's the best movie you've ever watched, Mark? Says Shahin. Well, Heat's one of my favourite films. Jaws is a very good film. Goodfellas, The Godfather. Grandfather's probably a good film. I've never seen it. The Departed. I love The Departed. I think that's a cracking film as well. I watched a very good film the other night. I mean, it's not up there with my greatest ever films. I mentioned it. The Founder, about McDonald's. I loved that. I loved Air with Matt Damon in, about the story of how Nike got hold of Jordan. Brilliant film. I loved that. I quite like a wide variety of film. Back to the Future is a good film. No yellows for the card gestures. Gotta love the consistency they've been talking about, says Soap. Mate, they're all over the place. These referees are crap. They're not intelligent enough. So Tamiyasu, first yellow card. I mean, I can't believe it. His first yellow card was for taking a little bit too long on the throw-in. His second yellow card was for it's just unbelievable. I mean, that referee, unbelievable. I've just seen both of them. I don't think he should have got a yellow card for either of them, and he's now having an early shower. And you know what? I'm going to be fair to Newcastle here. Teams only really time waste in the last 10 minutes of a game when it's 1-0 and they're holding out. Arsenal are not going to look to time waste with half an hour to go. Ridiculous. I can sort of understand the first one because they're trying to get the game going quicker. So they don't want people, you know, I'd be a hypocrite myself if I said that I'm against booking someone for taking 8 seconds to take a throw-in, because ultimately it's going to make people take throw-ins quicker, which means the ball's going to be in play more. So I'm not necessarily against that. I can see it's stupid logic, but I can see the logic. But if you're going to book a player for time wasting because you want to cut out time wasting, you've got to be a bit more lenient with the second yellow card, because you're basically giving him a yellow card because you're trying to change the game. You can't then give him a soft yellow card. I think that's the stupid thing for me. And also, very good point in the chat there. More red cards means more teams playing with 10 men, which means more energy on the players, more exertion, more distance covered for longer games. I mean, are we ever going to think about... I hate the word player welfare because people will start going, they're on ridiculous money, I've got no sympathy with them. But, you know, I don't want to say this, but I will say it anyway. Have footballers suffered serious things on a football pitch in relation to exertion? Yes, they have. Now, some of those things are to do with conditions that they might not be aware of that could happen at any point. But do you want to keep running the risk of overexerting footballers as the games get quicker and quicker and the players have to be fitter and fitter? Has nobody ever thought that more red cards means that team's got to work harder, and then longer games means they've got to work harder for longer? We're going to see more injuries. We're going to see players put at risk more. Nobody's thinking it through. And that's just on the player welfare side in relation to physical exertion. As I said, for me, less players on the pitch for longer. Well, we know that less players on the pitch goes hand in hand with less quality, because the team with 10 men sits back, counter-attacks, and it ends up being an attacking team against a low block, which isn't as entertaining as 11 against 11. So they're not thinking it through. How long do players have to put in the throw-in? Is it up to the referees, or how does it work? How are they supposed to know they are taking too long, says Bryce. Well, it's a very good point from Bryce. I think if every player knows that they've got 5 seconds to take a throw-in, then everybody will take a throw-in within 5 seconds. But is there a rule in place? I don't know. And of course, another great point in the chat, and why would I not expect it? Yakov says this benefits the team with more money at the end of the day. So we're trying to create a more competitive and interesting Premier League, and you're absolutely right. If teams are going to have to play for longer with less players, more regularly, then they're going to pick up more injuries and more fatigue. So therefore, the teams that benefit from this are the teams with bigger squads and more quality players, which will ultimately be the bigger teams who are richer. So, again, there's just no thought process. There's no thought process in anything that these officiating lawbreakers, makers, think about. It feels like Arsenal, we paid 75 million for Havertz, so we're going to play him, says Mislav. I honestly believe that VAR is making refs worse. What do you think, says Sanka? I was shocked by last year, and this weekend is just more of the same. Just an abundance of inconsistently crap decisions. Andy says, we love you on this channel, even Liverpool fans. Palace goal soon, says Andy. Yeah, apart from that Liverpool fan who has caused me a load of abuse on social media today by taking a clip that they know is out of context and making it look like I think that women shouldn't report domestic abuse. So, unfortunately, Andy, that's a Liverpool fan who's done that. But, I won't hold it against all of you. Those 2 yellows on Tomiyasu was borderline racism, says Bloody. I don't think that's fair to say. In fact, I know it's not. It's not racism, mate. It's stupidism. It's just completely and utterly stupid. There are way too many games, in my opinion, and people who disagree have never played 90 minutes on a pitch. No wonder there are so many injuries, says Eric. I was having this chat with somebody last week, actually. I've never played the game at the highest level, but I've played competitive football. And whether you're playing a pub game to stay up on a Sunday, or you're playing a school game to win the local cup, or you're playing an under-16 game for, or you're playing a trial game, if there's a competitive element to it, then we all know this. When you're playing in a game of football and it's competitive, and, you've been playing hard for 75 minutes, and you go to the ref and you say, how long's the left, ref? And he says 15 minutes. Psychologically, you're like, I've just got to go for another 15 minutes. And in some of those situations, you're absolutely knackered. And you're surviving on fumes and adrenaline. This is high-level football. And when you have that chat with the ref, and they do, how long's left, ref? And he says 10 minutes. And you know that he might be adding another 12. It must be so hard psychologically. Not just physically, but psychologically. It must be so hard. Can Palace equalise here? They're up against 10 men. They are sort of laying siege to the penalty box without creating a chance. But here's Ayew. Ooh, cleared away. Update on bears. T-Dog says the fastest recorded bear was 42 miles an hour. That's pretty fast. As somebody who drives around a lot of areas with a 40 mile per hour speed limit, I'm imagining myself doing 40, nothing more, and adding 2 miles per hour to it and going, a bear did that. Imagine if you were in a car driving away from a bear at 40 miles an hour. You'd probably be going like this out the window, up yours. And then you go to get your arm back and it's not there because the bear's bit it off because it's doing 42 miles an hour and you're doing 40, adhering to the speed limit, getting away from an angry bear, thinking I'm in a car and I'm safe. Have that as you concentrate on the road. You go to take your arm back, it's not there because the bear's bit it off and now it's in the back seat coming for your head. Incredible stuff. The lesson there is, if you're in a car and a bear's chasing you, don't get arrogant until you get to 50 miles an hour. And you better make sure you're on a bloody motorway or a dual carriageway because you'll get a ticket if you're in a 40. I've got an amazing imagination. I'll be dreaming about that tonight. Good story though. I liked it. You know, I like that sort of idea. On the other hand, you could be sympathetic to the bear. The bear could be sat there having a picnic. Some twat like Neville could come along, take his sandwich, eat it, run into his Land Rover, get in, go up yours with the electric windows up. Bear's trying to claw its way through, hasn't figured out how to smash the glass. Neville starts the engine, push button, it's an expensive one. Drives off, electric window down, finger. Bear's there, running along at the side of it. Justice. Justice. Bloodbath. We're about to hit 90 minutes here. I wonder how fast the shark can swim. What is the fastest recorded speed from a shark? I'm thinking about this now. I'm actually thinking there should be a bear Olympics. Because that bear that did 42.7 miles an hour, you know, he probably should get a record or a medal. And then the slower bears have got something to aim for. And then when that fast bear gets a bit quick, it could retire and mate with another female bear that's quite quick, and their son or daughter could break the record. It's amazing. It's amazing stuff. Was it a penalty for Palace? 54% of you said yes. I don't think it was a penalty. Joshua Bowerwater says, Great Whites can swim 40 miles an hour. Imagine that, keeping up with your boat. Terrifying, says Joshua. I've seen Jaws, mate. I've seen Jaws. JC's, I'd rather have not got Rice if it meant we didn't have to have Havertz. Don't know what Edu and Arteta were thinking, needs investigating, says JC. Yeah. Well, Havertz has just won a yellow card here. I don't like the balance of Arsenal's midfield, and I think that when you play a decent side, and I'm not saying Palace aren't a decent side, but when you play like a Liverpool or a Chelsea or someone like that, I think he's going to have to pull Partey in there. Arsenal's next game is an interesting one. It's Fulham on Saturday. And at the moment, if I was an Arsenal fan, I'd be looking at the Forest game and going 2-1. I'd be looking at this game and going hopefully 1-0. There's a lot of improvement to come, but I'd just be over the moon with the points, really. Evan, thank you very much for your super chat. Can't believe Chelsea made 125 million out of Mount and Kai Havertz, says Faris. Well, there's still another 5 minutes to go here. We're about to hit 92 minutes, but the referee's added 7 on. Do you think Arsenal look like the challengers, or do you think City could run away with it? Says Gracie. I think City will run away with it. It's too early to say Arsenal won't be challengers, but I think there's a few teams this season that just look very imbalanced. Man United look ridiculously imbalanced in the midfield. We've all spoken about that. Chelsea look imbalanced in their attack. Arsenal look imbalanced in the midfield and up front. There's a lot of teams. It's early doors. And I think in the first few games of the season, it's great if you can win 3 or 4-0, but also it's great if you can just win. I think there's a few teams that are, and I don't know why. I do know, actually, and I'm going to tell you, but I was trying to be a little bit like, oh, I've had a thought, but I have already had this thought. My personal theory is that last season was the most mentally draining season as well as physically draining, probably in football history. You had a World Cup at Christmas. You had a Premier League season either side of it. And I felt it was a very short, closed window in the sense that football started in, it felt like it feels like some of these players haven't had a break. And maybe that's why some of these teams are looking a little bit less sharp and a little bit less fit. On the other hand, look at Gabriel. He's celebrating like he's won. On the other hand, it could just be it's the start of the season, Mark. Stop being a prat. Lots of teams start slow. Gamer says a lot of the teams are coming into the season undercooked, but City have been doing it for years. What are your watch-alongs this weekend, says MKF. Well, United are playing Forest at 3 o'clock on Saturday, so that'll be me. The one that really jumps out to me is Liverpool-Newcastle on Sunday. I've looked at the other games, and I think they're a bit shit. Luton are playing Chelsea on Friday night at the Bridge. So I don't really think that's a game I want to watch on a Friday night. Palace are in the box. They're bouncing around. Ramsdale, he probably should have gone over the bar. Chelsea play Luton at the Bridge on Friday night at 8. Bournemouth play Spurs on Saturday lunchtime. And Brighton play West Ham in the 5:30. So there's not really a game that jumps out to me other than the Sunday game between Newcastle and Liverpool, which I am looking forward to. I'm not going to lie about that. I think that's got the potential to be a great game. I really do. Not impressed with Arsenal. We need a striker, says Evan. I agree. And with FA getting too careful about the rules, which have got no consistency at all, could it cause a detrimental effect to the Premier League as a whole? Yes. Kizele. When you've got clowns on the pitch, it becomes a circus. Trossard's on the bench. Hasn't brought him on, Charlie. Obviously, he'd be an attacking change. I think they're going to do it, Arsenal. I think they're going to do it. It's a shame for them that they've had to work so hard defensively because of a ridiculous yellow card. Well, ridiculous 2 yellow cards. Sent Tomiyasu off. Ridiculous if you haven't seen it. But change the game, really. I mean, Crystal Palace. I'm going to say something controversial here. Crystal Palace may well have fancied their chances of getting back into the game against 11 men more than 10. And that's the ridiculous nature of red cards. I don't know who the prat is in the Premier League who thinks that more yellow cards is going to make the game better. Because I guarantee if you spoke to Roy Hodgson, he probably would have preferred to play against 11 men than 10. And that's the ridiculous nature of what we're discussing and watching and observing here, is that these idiots think more yellow cards and more red cards makes the game more entertaining. And anybody who's watched the game or played the game knows that actually you get a better spectacle 11 against 11. And also, Roy Hodgson's job of scoring is probably easier against an Arsenal team that's got 11 players on the pitch and still going to attack. Finishes 1-0 to Arsenal anyway. It's a big result. They're very happy with it because they've had to work a lot harder than they probably thought they would do. Big 3 points for Arsenal in the circumstances after a ridiculous yellow card. So I'm not going to say congratulations, but fair play. Arsenal are the winner. Crystal Palace, like I say, probably would have fancied their chances more against 11 men. The big headlines of the weekend in general are appalling officiating, and call it out. You know, the biggest mistake we can make as fans at the moment is to just keep putting up with it. It's absolutely disgraceful. Some of the decisions this weekend are a joke. Dermot Gallagher actually sat there this morning and said it wasn't a handball by Romero. He's got no idea what he's talking about. We've had McAllister sent off. We've had Tomiyasu sent off today. It's just daily occurrences of incompetence and inconsistency. But Arsenal got the result and Palace lost. End of the day. Thank you very much for tuning in. And obviously we'll be back tomorrow with some more content for you. Take care, everyone. Really enjoyed the show. Thoroughly enjoyed the bear chat. If you know, you know. And remember, if you're being chased by a bear and you're in a car, bears could run 42 miles an hour. So you're not safe even at 40 miles an hour. But you can't go any quicker than that if you're in a 40 zone because you'll get a ticket. Speak to you later. Thanks for watching.